everybody, Geraldine Rose here. Hey, does this sound a little better? I think we got the audio problems fixed. Now, you might be wondering why we're actually doing a card that was obviously from the beginning of the year. I've got a huge backlog that I will be working through, and it's because it appears that the sound card and its drivers in the computer became corrupted last year when I was taping during a thunderstorm. Brand new computer. We tried everything that we could think of, brand new microphones, 3 different microphones, a bunch of other stuff, muting the speakers, unplugging the webcam, and everything still kept coming out reverb. So I came across another help article that said, well, try ripping and reading the sound card and its drivers, and boom, she's working again. Anyways, back to this card now. So we'll start with this one and move forward. This was for a Happy New Year's card for a friend. We both subscribe to each other. She's Kelly Whicker Cards, if you want to go check her out. All that first part was stamping the Altenew Nordic Wonderland stamp set down in various colors, and I sprayed it with water and stamped it. So it had a bit of a watercolor effect behind, and then I put Versamark down and brought in a copper embossing powder, as you saw, heat embossing. Here I've stamped down a mask, and I've cut it out, and I'm going to do that to protect the bottom part of the stamp while I'm positioning ones that I want up on the top. This is where I'm going in with my secondary stamping, again with different colors and tones. Great thing about this stamp wheel is that you can rotate this in all sorts of directions, and you can see I've got a little gold heart there up at the top to match the outside of the frame. So I always use that for myself to check where my alignment is to see if I'm getting it in. Now this is the part where I'm actually stamping directly onto the sticky grid, so it will reverse the image, and you can see press the cardstock down, so it's not quite as dark as the other side, but the end card with the stuff that we have on top of it, it's not going to matter. I'm grabbing out some of the inks that I used to do the underwater tone effect underneath the embossing, and I'm slapping them over top of the embossed part. So it gives like a really loose watercolor background. So again, it's another watercolor style of underpainting, and only a little bit up at the top because those ones aren't embossed, and I know that because it's a water reactive ink that they actually will bleed a little bit. But I just wanted to bring those colors up on the top to tie the unity together. Now here's where I got out my Lindy's Magical shimmer powders. Brought some out in the tones that we're using through the card, which were for the inspiration challenge for January. You saw the image at the beginning there. So I'm using some of those in and alternating them with, again, the inks that we used through the card already. And these ones I am staying within the embossed lines to put an overpainting of the watercolor and the Lindy's Magicals. Some of the Lindy's Magicals have a shimmer to them and some of them don't. They are really fun to actually just directly paint with as well, rather than just sprinkling them down and spritzing them with water. And here's me. I'm going in with little dots because I like putting dots on stuff. And one of the other cards that I sent, Kelly, had dots all over it. This Nordic Wonderland set, it also has a stencil. It also has an embossing folder for it. So before I emboss it, I'm bringing back in some of the brighter colors again and accentuating within the stencil lines. Here's where I've got some of the solar paste out. I'm going to add a little bit of that as well in here too, because you know me, it's mixed media. You know there's going to be layer upon layer upon layer, and it will all come together at the end. Again, using the stencil to kind of accentuate the ones that I feel needed a little bit more depth to them. And oh, all right, so that's looking a little better. This is where I am using the Nouveau. I believe this was the Strawberry Coulis. These are the jewel drops. And because this was a new year, and with everything that's happening in the world, I just wanted to have like a really bright card that was really fun to hold in your hand. So I'm putting those on. And to bring in additional shimmer, I am getting out the Ranger Spritz sprays now, and used it was probably fossilized amber and twisted citron, and the pink was probably Kitsch Flamingo, to add another layer of, shimmer and shine over the top. So this is my little Altenew embossing and die cutting machine, and it works like a charm. I wanted to have this for a new year, and the Christmas season die cut has got a celebrate the in there, and I also had a season die cut from the Altenew Halftone Holidays stamp. This is where I'm building the sentiment that's going to go on the front. I liked the half tone, but I wanted to darken it up a bit. So on top of the pink, you can see I'm adding in some yellow ink here before I actually die cut that out as well. Pushing it into the Versamark. I believe the first I dipped it in the shimmer embossing powder, and the second time it was a clear embossing powder to add a second layer to bring it up so that it would also frame in with the way that the embossing folder had embossed the card so that it was raised up in a nice kind of a bubble form. Typical, just taking one of the toasted mauve inks and just framing the card a little bit around the outside as well. This is the picture frame die cut. So craft, it went actually with the inspiration colors, and I'm again using that to frame the card because it's quite busy in the background, but it's fun. Here you just, had put my glue on, but I'm dabbing some of it off so that it doesn't squish out all over the place. I'm setting those two into place up at the top, as you can see. Now we're working on the inside of the card. So these were some of the sentiment strips that were from the inside of that Nordic Wonderland stamp set, and using, of course, the same tones that were on the front of the card with the warm pinks and kind of like paprika-y colors to, have a nice sentiment for the inside. And have those down, and this one I'm going to take one of my blending brushes at the end, and I'm just going to blend it out a little bit so we get a little bit more of an ombre there for the inside. Yes, there we are. All right, custom stamp on the back. Unfortunately, I don't think the company that I got these from actually does them anymore. I've been asked several times about that. I believe Kathy Zilski has mentioned a place where you can get the custom stamps done in the US. Here's the home stretch. So we're gluing that panel down, tapping it against my craft mat to align it, wiggling it into place with the glue on the back. And because this has got the dimension from the embossing folder, that's why I put the bricks on either side. I've got out some enamel dots. These were the citrus punch ones from Altenew, putting them into spot. That's our finished card. So you all go out, be that change that we want to see in the world. It's a scary place right now, and it's up to us to spread a little bit of handmade kindness and joy to other people because we need it. So we'll see you all next time, and thanks so much for watching. Bye-bye.